but also Minnesota is an absolute wagon this year because somebody has to win the West, so they're still a great football team.
They're a wagon because they beat nobody.
Wow, you just called yourself a nobody.
Yes, we stink.
Cheers to episode 90.
Oh,
What is that?
cheers. I totally forgot about the drinking the Kool-Aid, but we didn't win, so it doesn't matter.
We lost, but because
Evan was worried in the third quarter. He's like, what are we going to do about this Kool-Aid? We're
I'm
going to have
not
to get
worried
some.
about it. No, I said I
And
needed to have
Jason
to go
offered
get
us
Kool-Aid.
some blue juice boxes.
Well,
because-
from Alex. I'm doing that.
No, I'm not, because we lost.
because listener Cody with the K asked so nicely, Hawaiian Punch, Polar Blast with Tito's. One shot of Tito's.
Is not Kool-Aid.
Yes, it is. It's like
Kool-Aid is a big guy that is a pitcher.
right. This is that, just in like 6 bottles like this.
Hawaiian Punch is owned by Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it's just that blue. It's like we were thinking of the big jug, but they make little singular bottles.
Wow.
What'd you guys say for drink?
Water.
I'm drinking water, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, so backstory was Cody with the K was like, hey, if the Lions win, we talked about Kool-Aid. You guys should do that. Well, I bought it before the weekend, and then obviously curiosity got the best of me. I drank one of them over the weekend.
And they were good.
It was so good. I was like, I don't care that we lost. I'm drinking this. It's so good. It makes a great mixer. Welcome in to the number 1 Michigan sports podcast. Evan has
no one's gonna downvote that.
Well, what are you doing at 7:47? Just get on your phone and vote.
Evan
To
has
be
just
honest, I
made,
looked at Grant's earlier and I was just gonna veto it, but I couldn't. I'm a man of principle.
Evan has just made a fantasy football trade. That's what you hear. It is Tuesday, September 27th. It is 7:47 p.m. And guys, it was a tough weekend to be an MSU and Lions fan.
Can you just shut up?
Hey, somebody had to win the West. I said I'll spin zone this.
I almost tweeted that. I almost said
I don't
Joan had
think
to
you
win the
expected
West.
24/7, Evan.
Absolutely not. I was not expecting to boo some people off the field and
Wow.
then get up in anger and tell.
Teaser.
And get booed out of the stadium.
Well, yes, but met some nice Minnesota people.
They were
And
nice.
said, "Hey, man, good luck on the rest of the year. Go win the West," and then walked out.
They were super nice to us. Shook my hand when we left. Great people. Minnesota's so nice.
Yeah, not to our football teams though.
No.
Yeah, tough. They just dominated the weekend. So what we have, if you couldn't tell by that, we're going to have our weekly check-ins as always. We're going to have some game recaps. Michigan, Maryland, Michigan State, Minnesota, Detroit, Minnesota, and then we're going to have some previews.
There you go.
Michigan
Push
State,
through.
Michigan State, Maryland. Evan's trade has been accepted. Michigan, Iowa, and Detroit, Seattle. Mixed in with all that, we'll have some listener questions. Before we dive into weekly check-ins, I'm going to plug the social accounts on the top because I always forget. At ShotOffMS, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, of how to listen to this podcast. With all that being said, who would like to start with their weekly check-ins? Let's start with Alex. How was your week?
How was my week? Good.
Good.
Pretty, what do you do? The podcast on Wednesday?
Yeah, that feels right.
Thursday, I watched a god-awful Thursday night football game. I wish
Browns.
House of Dragons would have been on instead of that.
Stillers?
Browns Steelers.
You want to talk about that right now? You want to talk about all the heat I've been catching?
No. What heat are you catching?
I'll hand up. Thrones is doing better than primetime football right now.
Oh, well, I figured we'd get to that. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's not even a comparable thing
Get
at
that
the
off
moment.
my chest.
Yeah, no, it's bad. So yeah, I watched Thursday night football. Boring. Friday, went to Michigan State, as I do for every home game. I go there on Friday.
Nice.
Played trivia with the boys.
Greatest game of all time.
It's a lot of fun. We played the dozen trivia. Oh, that's awkward. That was an alarm.
That was super awkward.
Birth control?
No. Class. reminder. Anyways. So yeah, no, I'll explain that later after the show. The dozen trivia from Barstool. We just watched the YouTube video.
Why is that a Mike song? I'm just
you could just choose songs for your alarms, and I don't know how I got to that one, but
okay, sorry.
Anyways, dozen trivia. That was fun. Evan, Connor, and I dominated, and then the teams got switched up, and I was very disappointed.
So, do you like put on
we
the
played
YouTube
a dozen,
video?
yeah, and you just pause it when the question's asked.
And then do you like set a timer in the room?
Not really. We just kind of let you answer.
Honor system.
I
Like
see.
if you're taking forever, like, all right, people, rep this.
The only ones that are hard are the ones where you have to like, what are those called? When you have to say several answers and they go back and forth in the show.
The Baker's Dozen, the extra bonus round.
So we just had to pause it and then just give 5 each back and forth.
The niche categories are impossible because they're
They're not our niche categories.
Yeah, so we're answering questions about the Chicago Blackhawks and
like who's their third line goal scorer. I was like,
that
I
scored
don't know. In
winning goal in
2011.
it's Brent Seabrook, by the way.
Yeah, if you're wondering.
Very innovative. I wonder if anyone else does that.
We were going to phone you. You were going to be my phone a friend
Yes.
for
You were
the
on
music
speed dial.
ones. But for those, you have to hum it, and I just don't trust my humming to come across as good enough that you can understand what the song is.
Okay.
But maybe next week if we play
Cool.
again. So that was fun. Did that Friday, and then Saturday, just, tailgating. I really would like to just shout out Michigan State for the early start allow. It's just so much better. You just got so much more time, so much more room for activities. Great tailgate, good time. And then the football game happened. That sucked. And then Sunday, we all watched the game together, got bagels together, had ourselves a day. All for a really disappointing ending.
Bagels from where?
Brugger's.
Yeah.
Bagels.
Free ads.
We
Shout
waited
out.
in line for a good 30 minutes, but, it went by fast because we were trying to scheme up Evan's 8th grade game plan.
What kind?
Foreshadowing.
What kind of bagel? What kind of bagel?
I went with the, what was it called? I had an
Smoked
everything
cheddar?
bagel, but it was
Gouda?
like a sriracha honey.
Oh, Black Forest
cream
ham?
cheese. No, there's an egg, bacon. I don't know.
Oh.
It was good. I don't remember. And then, that was it. That was my weekend. Then I rode back to my apartment on Sunday and just pretty much silence and, thought, how bad are my football teams? What a bad weekend of sports. And then my fantasy team
football.
lost, and I scored under 80 points 2 weeks in a row. So things are not going well on the football front for me. But they're not going great on Evan's football front either. I want you to tell us about your 8th grade team.
Oh,
Wow.
we'll get there. Rewind. Okay, I basically did everything the same by Alex this whole weekend. I was a star of a parade on Friday in my hometown.
No, you got to talk about your tug of war.
Oh,
Great video out there. We should retweet this.
pep assembly.
There's a pep assembly of Evan leading the charge on tug of war.
Who tweeted it?
Oh, it's on Facebook. Evan, you cheated.
No, I did not cheat. It's just a simple, you tug the rope as in
You
tug
can't
of war.
pull the
Yes,
rope.
you can. That's how tug of war works. You pull the rope.
You have to stay stationary on
No.
that rope.
Look up the official rules of tug of war, and you're
you
allowed
beforehand?
to pull the rope. No, you just pull the rope. Okay, so staff versus the winning class. I think Grant's frozen. Is Grant frozen on your screen?
No.
Oh, he's just
You
dialed
were
into
paused
watching.
that.
Dude. Profile picture is ridiculous. I was mesmerized by it.
I thought you were frozen, but you weren't moving. It's like, oh my gosh.
I found it. This video will be on our Twitter in no time.
All right,
Anyways, go
So-
ahead. Sorry.
the winning class. So they do what? Freshmen versus juniors, and then sophomores versus seniors, and whatever. And then I think the juniors won or whatever. So then they get the staff to go down there and try to beat the reigning class champion. And so they had a bunch of staff, and my boss told me, "No, you're young enough. Go down there." And I was like, "Fine, I'll do it."
Not only that, but you led the charge.
Well, because everybody was huddled in the back. Somebody has to be in the front. Somebody has to be the first loser to cross the line, thinking we would lose, and then we dominated the juniors.
Yeah, it wasn't close.
Wow.
Wasn't close.
Grant, are you playing something on your computer?
I think it might be
No.
here at mine.
I hear like TV audio.
Yeah.
Like
That's
Family
what's
Feud
me.
or something.
Yeah.
That's
It's
okay.
me. Can you still hear it?
No. Yeah, a little bit. Not really.
I don't know how to fix it without muting. I can't.
You're good. I can't hear it.
Okay. And then we won. Alex is saying I cheated. Did not cheat.
Yeah. Cheated.
Then had the parade, and I got to ride around the parade in my golf cart. It was pretty sick.
Your own personal?
My own personal golf cart. Yes.
Were you in the cart alone?
Yes. For 99% of the parade, I was.
Did you throw out candy?
I did not because I totally forgot about it. It had zero candy. The couple pieces that I got, I ate, and then like some of the candy that was like on the ground, I would just like scoop
Evan, those are
by.
for children.
So parade.
Parade. Star of the parade. A lot of chuckles from the people from the crowds. Like, oh my gosh, Evan, you're on a golf cart. And then did this.
Why would they laugh about that?
Because you like when you're watching like the homecoming parade, you don't expect myself just to be riding solo in a golf cart.
I think that's fair.
No, yeah, that's a good point.
Then Friday, also went up to Michigan State. Also partaked with Alex and all of our friends. Great time. Saturday, another great tailgate. Game stunk. Saturday night was fun. Bunch of people in the apartment. And then Sunday, just football. Line stunk. I did not jinx it. No matter what Alex tells you, I did not jinx it.
You already told me pre-show.
You jinxed the living shit out of it, Evan. And I said it right in the moment. I'm like, you know that we haven't won yet. You're doing this on purpose.
And then Monday, we game planned for middle school football. And I promised multiple people that the 8th grade
Pretty
team,
much anybody that would hear it.
Yes. I talk about it a lot? Yes.
All weekend.
My 8th grade team, I said that we would score 21 points. I felt good about it. I did. I felt good about it. Like, you know what? This could be the week. We're moving the ball. Just like we stall out sometimes. Bad penalty here and there. Weather was not on our side yesterday.
Oh, Evan, don't start with excuses.
I'm not blaming the weather. I will not blame the weather.
Raining?
And then 7th grade just gave me zero hope. Bad game there. Playing on a Monday. We usually play on Tuesdays.
God, you're full of excuses.
They're not excuses. I'm just spitting out facts.
This is facts.
8th grade came around. We're kicking off. Kickoff kicker, doesn't have a leg. We recover the kickoff.
Wait
It's
a
basically an onside kick.
You tried to kick it deep and it didn't go deep and you recovered it?
We're talking like metaphorically doesn't have a leg, right?
Metaphorically doesn't have a great
No, they had a
kicking
kicker
leg.
that actually didn't have a leg.
Just didn't know what
And
was
he just
going on.
runs and kicks it with his hip.
We recovered it. And we're like, it's meant to be. It's
Dream
basically what I
start.
thought. Like, we're going to score and already have 7 points within the first 2 minutes of the game.
Did you run your Philly special in the first play?
It's going in. I can't say it because what if all the Saline middle school coaches are listening to this?
That's a great point, Evan.
Could you imagine?
Going in next week. First play, what do? We fumble on the offensive snap. We fumble on the first snap.
How?
Of the game. Oh.
It could have been the second one, but I know
What
it's on
kind
the
of
first
fumble?
drive. 2 plays in.
Was it a butt fumble?
No, it was a high snap, super
Over his
high.
head.
Quarterback has to grab it, try to get the mesh point, messed up the mesh point, fumble.
Jesus, just tuck it in and run at that
And the
point.
defensive end just
go
went in there,
down.
just falls on it. Then we moved the ball, and we had probably like 10 or 12 penalties just on offense alone. Like we would
That's
have
just coaching.
Undisciplined.
undisciplined coaching. Yes, correct. I put myself forward first. Bad coaching.
Bad technique.
We would have like positive gains, like really good like chunk plays. Like yes, we got momentum. Nope, it's coming back. Now
Because you're yanking jerseys.
second half, opening drive.
So 0 at half. Let's make sure that people know that. You
It's
scored
not
0 points at
0
half.
Correct. We have 0 points at half. The other team has more than 0 points at half.
Give us the score.
I
Give us the score, Evan.
gotta add it up. Give me a second, real quick. I gotta make sure I can back 24-0.
Okay.
Okay. You can come back from that.
Manageable.
First drive, we're marching down the field. Got a couple good plays. Okay, here we go. 4th and 1. 4th and 1. We get them to jump. We're going on 2. Got them to jump 3-5 yards. I'm celebrating down the sideline. Just get the old
I'm 24-0.
Get the little first down, pointing at my assistant coaches. Now, we found a play. We found the Ole Miss triple option 2022 offense. Zone read, quarterback around the end, that single side wide receiver, instead of blocking the corner, fake like you're blocking for half a second, and just go leak out and like a fade down the sideline. 2 plays back to back. Connect. Second play was
the same play 2 times in a row. Evan, you only do that in Madden.
Hey, ain't broken, don't fix it.
You guys are running RPOs.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, this offense is way too complicated for an 8th grade team.
That was just basic stuff.
To you and I and Grant.
To them, that was our most successful play.
These are 13-year-olds.
That was our most successful play.
There's a 100% chance that you had an ineligible man downfield. The refs just neglected on those plays.
They're just like, yeah, we don't.
I'm getting there, Grant. Don't worry about that, buddy.
Oh, that happened.
Touchdown. Score a touchdown. We're celebrating on the sideline. I verbally, fist pumped. I was like, we finally scored. Point to my assistant coach. He's like, I can't believe this. I turned back my head to the field while my team is celebrating in the end zone. Finally see the ref grab from his hip and finally throw the flag.
Oh, no. This
play is so far over. Grant foreshadowed it. He saw it. Legal man downfield. Touchdown gets called back. You gotta be kidding me.
God, this is terrible, Evan.
Gotta be kidding me. We get another holding penalty. It's 4th and 15 or 20 or something. And obviously we have to go for it and we don't get it. And we stall out again.
No other drives got close.
We moved the ball consistently. Then we get a penalty, back us up. Another penalty, back us up even more. Just kicked herself in the foot that game.
Yeah.
Bounce back. Hey, we got extra practice now.
I mean, I don't know what you're going to say to the haters at this point because the backlash is increasing every week and there's another week of 0 points.
The adversity hits us well, we're at our lowest, but think about this gauntlet schedule. All the first 3 games are on the road.
So you're telling me you're going to put up 21 next week?
Absolutely.
Jesus. Stop making
First home game in front of a packed Indian Stadium? Are you kidding me?
Packed Indian Stadium? This is the Bad News Bears. You're going to have Rico and Suave there, and that's it.
No, that turf is fast. That turf is fast. They'll be flying around. They're never going to see the triple option RPO coming.
You and Scotty Hazelton, Evan, same conversation right now. You might get fired from the 8th grade football team.
I might get promoted.
I'm a horseshit football coach right now.
You're a horseshit football coach right now, Evan. You need to tell the people that.
I admitted that it was bad coaching earlier.
Did you do the practice plan that Drew recommended?
We're doing that tomorrow. Today was a review day. Tomorrow was full pads, get after it. They don't know what's expecting. They think, today was just a light day, recovery from the football game, get review, get our
Oklahoma drill.
Tomorrow it's we're go time. And I can't spoil it because they might listen to this by the time.
That'd be so fun. I'm just thinking how cool it would be if when we all get older, we all coach different teams in a county.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
And then just face each other nonstop.
I would have the best special teams group in the land.
Yeah, we'd all still be best friends. Then 1 week a year, we just hate each other's guts, and then we'd be friends again.
It's like fantasy football, but
we all have our own our same staff together.
Then we all just drink beers once a week and just complain about our teams.
Yeah, no. Then after the game, when we play each other, we just all get hammered, talk about it. Yeah, it'd be a great time. Yeah. The dream.
Is that all? All for you, Evan?
Yeah, because I was yesterday.
All right. Mine, not a ton again. I'm going to use mine to answer one question that I forgot last week. It was in regards to using a 40-pound kettlebell to work out and kind of featuring that as the main staple of your lifting program. For all the people wondering, just the reason you do it, how do you do it? It's just a good middle ground weight, and you can do a variety of exercises with a kettlebell. That's why. That's how one works out. Do you just not
going to the gym?
I have this thing where since the gym is at work, I just want to get out of work.
Extra.
I just want to get out of there. So a lot of times,
why don't you just get a membership somewhere else?
Just little Dicky saved that money. Just want to use what's free. And I went to the gym maybe a week or half ago. But yeah, it's just kettlebell. Like I said, 40 pounds is a good middle weight. You can do a lot of exercises with that you need to do.
This is going to hurt your road to getting big.
A little bit. Yeah. We're south of 175 right now, but we're north of 170.
Oh, I weighed in today. 170.0.
Chunky.
I have gained exactly 0 pounds.
So I'm bigger than you. I'm going to beat you up. Because you're running.
No.
Because you're running and you showed us today.
Yeah. I've ran 8 times now. That's my update for my running. And it's not, I said it was getting easier. It's not. Feels like my chest is going to explode every single time.
Like down the sidewalk and back. And
I just
takes a video
run
of
the
it,
sidewalk, take a video, and then I just turn around and I go back inside.
Yeah.
Fair.
I tried really, really hard to get up this morning today to go run.
Do it.
5 a.m., 5:15, 5:30, 5:45, 6. Nope. Canceled every single one of them.
So you just got like absolutely terrible sleep from the hour 5 to 6 when you could have been out running.
I even went to bed at 9 o'clock.
Wow.
I simply can't do it. I don't know why.
Oh, so we might be close to your bedtime tonight.
Well, no, I just did it to see if I'd get up early. Doesn't work. We'll keep trying.
Game of Thrones. Okay. This is also I also will put this into my weekly recaps when they're light. So, my question to start is, who is your least favorite character in the show? Did everyone see episode 6?
Yeah.
I mean, you watched it?
Oh,
okay.
We watch it right when it comes
out.
out.
I wait for 9 o'clock. I'm sitting there waiting, and my brother's refreshing it before it gets to 9 o'clock.
All right. Love that. So, spoilers. But who is your guys' least favorite character in the show as we're 6 episodes in?
I think it's easy. It's the new villain. It's
I can't say. I was going to say him, but it's too early to say him because he just didn't.
Well, I've seen a bunch of things recently of like who everyone actually hates, like who America and who like the popular people hate.
That's what I'm kind of asking, because after this episode, I confirmed who I hate the most in the show. So were you saying, Evan, like, do you find yourselves like hating the villain? Because sometimes I love villains.
Correct.
You're talking about Lord Larys.
Yes, I'm talking about Larys.
I like him. I think he's a sweet character.
I don't like him, but I don't. He's not my least favorite.
I never hated a villain in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
But with him,
there are no villains.
I hated
correct. Depends on what side.
Yeah, you can't like Ramsay, Evan.
Ooh, there's one villain that you can hate in Game of Thrones.
I hated Joffrey.
Now, actually, I didn't hate Ramsay at the beginning. The first time you meet him, when he was making fun of Reek, that was actually pretty funny.
I hated Joffrey, so
I
didn't
like Joffrey. Jeez, that guy was a prick.
The worst.
I would say Larys right now, just because I feel like the girls are just so innocent from what happened to him.
Who do you not like the least, Grant?
I think Sir Kristen is the biggest in this entire show.
He's high on my giant loser list.
He's the biggest loser of all time. He floats to whatever
180
pretty girl says, do this for me. He is the Sir Simps-a-lot is what he should be called. He's the absolute worst. The worst. He has no spine. He was letting his mouth run in the hallway, swearing about a princess. You can't do that. He's
a nice
the worst.
word, though. A word that needs to get brought back.
Yeah. He's the worst. But then the flip side of the question was, because I was struggling with this personally, who is your favorite character in the show right now?
Just reading my text from Monday morning. I said, Sir Kristen is and I don't like Allison either. But who do I like the most? Damon.
Yeah. Really?
Still. I'm still a Rhaenyra fan.
I don't like Rhaenyra's older self very much.
I did not. Yeah.
I don't vibe with her.
I don't like how she showed no growth. She's still the same immature person.
She's super immature. And like, how stupid does she think everybody is? She's just going to bang a brown-haired dude and everyone's going to have no idea?
I don't think she's that stupid. I think it's more of a...
Just doesn't care, immature.
Just nobody will really care because she's about to be on the Iron Throne. I don't think it was like the whole... I'm going to try to hide it from everybody.
I like young Rhaenyra. I don't like old Rhaenyra.
I don't think I like anyone, is what I've gathered. I don't like
love
a
anybody.
Single person in the show. The only person I'm excited, so I guess I like him the most, is my guy Otto that I stood up for. He's coming back. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, there aren't actually that many likable characters in this at all.
No.
Like, there's something wrong with every single one of them.
Can we talk about how the king just doesn't have an arm and it was never mentioned?
I didn't even notice that.
He doesn't have a left arm.
Really?
Really? He did in the beginning, right?
As soon as he walked in, on the first thing that you saw him in this most recent episode, he does not have a left arm. Does not use. I was
just looking at how old he looked and how nasty he looked.
You need to zoom out a little bit. He doesn't have a left arm.
I wish, because they just wear robes, so it's
just
hard
be a
to tell.
cloak, Kevin. Could be a long cloak.
No.
So they just cut off his left arm that was grayscaling, and that's probably how he's alive.
Yeah.
No, didn't see that.
Am I the only one?
I'm going to be on the lookout for it next time, and I will write back. The only other things I had was, one, this show is absolutely obsessed with birth, more so than the first one.
Oh, I was so pissed when that was happening again. I'm like, can we just stop with all the birth?
There was two. There was two in the episode, and then there was obviously the very first episode.
They also desperately need condoms because people are dying left and right from just getting it off.
Yep.
It's a problem.
And then this was probably, I should have seen this coming because it's called House of the Dragons. But the beautiful thing of dragons in the first Game of Thrones was Dracarys was something special. It was whoa, it was rare. Now it's just mainstream. It's when a trend just gets hammered over your head.
There's a lot of them.
Right. And that's just, Dracarys for me has lost its luster already. I'm actually looking forward to when people start dying by swords. I'm excited for that first. I need that. I'm
excited for some war.
Hand-to-hand combat, all these dragons. It's just I don't know. I mean, there's just too much fire at this point for me.
Also, the way, what's her name? Lena, the girl that dies.
Mm-hmm.
When she says Dracarys, right in the beginning of the show, it just sounded awful. That's just a nitpick for me. Right when she said it, I was like, that she shouldn't be allowed to say that.
When she first walked out there?
No, when she was when they were flying in the beginning of the episode, her and Damon. She says it. And she says it, and I'm like, yeah, this has lost its luster.
When she said it at the end, I thought that was really good.
No, the end was good. She wanted to die in Dragonback, close enough, get burned by fire.
I really also, if we had to do favorite characters that aren't living people, I really like her dragon Vhagar because you could tell he was very sentimental about having.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna see a crying dragon. That would be cool.
Dragons are
it's like your
the
dog.
smartest creature.
What if they did a tear down his face?
I thought they were going to. I was really anticipating that. I was like, that would be something.
Also, if you want to live, do not get married to Damon because his wives just die left and right.
Yeah,
you're just getting absolutely murked if you're Damon's wife.
He's going to marry Rhaenyra next.
Predictions? Rhaenyra.
That's where it feels like this is all headed.
Yeah, some nasty little incest.
Also, I mean, Lord Larys. That's why you just kind of have to think this guy's so crazy. I kind of like his character. He's just he's you know what? Yeah, I did not even realize that was his brother and dad until it snapped. And I was like, oh yeah, he just killed his brother and his dad.
Yeah. No.
Well, we don't. I guess we don't know if the dad died. We know the brother died.
The dad died. The dad was laying out on the cot.
They're dead.
There was two bodies.
Yeah.
Okay.
One was burnt toast, and the other was on the stretcher.
And they talked about it too, because he's now Lord of whatever place that they
Lord of
Harrenhal.
Harrenhal. Yeah,
yes.
Harrenhal.
He says he's down the Lord of that, but that's not what he wants. He's waiting for his gift.
We could also talk about him being a simp. He's doing this all for Alicent.
No, he's not.
Not according to the playback. He just is playing.
Yeah,
he's playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers.
He wants to be hand of the king.
No, he's betting. He's betting on
Alicent.
Yes, to take over.
He wants Alicent in his back pocket. Hey, I did this for you, so you owe me.
He's betting on that family to take over the Iron Throne.
When he's yeah, I'm sure you'll repay me later. Such a creepy voice after he just murdered people.
No, not just people. His brother and his dad.
Yeah, he's a crazy.
He killed them so Otto could come back to be the hand of the king.
That's right.
Otto can't be hand of the king again.
Yeah, he can. Who else is the king?
Why would he bring him back? You can't fire someone and bring him back.
He has nobody to turn to, and the queen.
Game of Thrones.
The queen can recommend it.
He shouldn't do it. He probably will, but he shouldn't do that.
Otto predicted this whole mess.
Dude, the king doesn't have
a decade ago.
He needs another one.
All right, I'm shifting this into football. We'll stay tuned with this show.
Football.
We are starting in Ann Arbor. Big noon kickoff. Michigan, Maryland, 34-27. This is a new strategy I have. I think it'll help the flows of the games go better. Yes, Alex. Is it about Thrones?
No.
Okay.
I have not seen a second of the Michigan Maryland game. I cannot contribute whatsoever.
Alex, you watched some.
No, I haven't seen anything of it other than what we saw at the tailgate, which I briefly remember.
Correct.
Well, I'll help you with it, and then you can also answer a listener question. We have one of them we'll answer at the end of this segment. What we're going to do for games, guys, is what I want to do. I think it'll help us with our flow and keep things organized. It's not rigid, but I think it'll help. So we're going to try to start with specific moments in the game that caught our eye, that were big moments that we want to talk about, and then we can extrapolate to big picture thoughts of like what happens now, what are big picture storylines, because I think sometimes it's hard, like big picture versus actual moments in the game. So I will kick us off with some moments in the game that I thought were worth highlighting for this show, with the first being that the kickers in this game were absolutely phenomenal. We had 3 field goals of 50 yards plus made in this game alone, which is stunning for college football, especially in a cold Midwestern city. So
I did see
Maryland's
that.
kicker.
So yeah, shout out to kickers.
We have Moody miss one though.
Yes.
What's his name? Moody. Who is it?
Yeah, Jake Moody. You nailed it.
For Michigan, yeah.
From Michigan.
What's the Maryland kicker's name? Feel like he deserves some pub for his should have been 65-yard field goal.
I do not know, but he played better than Jake Moody. I'm willing to say he's better than Jake Moody because he had made like 23 in a row coming into that game as well.
Can't wait to watch him make a 72-yarder against us on Saturday.
To go up 52-7.
Yes.
The funniest play of the game was the start of the game. A doink off the face mask. I don't think I've ever seen that in a team I've rooted for, where it doinks off your face mask, the kicking team recovers it, and I tweeted this in the moment. I don't know the stats. It had to be the fastest offensive touchdown in history for a team that kicked the ball off. Had to have been. Like, less than 5 seconds went off the clock before Michigan had a passing touchdown, and they kicked the ball off.
Yeah, unless someone like muffed one and it flew all the way back into the end zone and was recovered in the end zone on the kickoff.
Wait.
Is that what happened?
No. Offensive touchdown, not special teams.
Got it.
So, like, special teams is over.
I thought you just meant touchdown by the team that kicked off the fastest.
No. Offensive.
Makes sense. Probably not.
Those are the really specific moments I had, Evan. Did you have any thoughts, questions about this game before I get into any big picture stuff?
I have one question. From the moments that I was watching it, Michigan was on offense most of the time that I was watching it. Do you have any concerns or questions for how much JJ was trying to create or scramble or basically just run around with his head cut off in the backfield? All for either a little gain or sacks, or kind of just lucky that he's the most athletic guy out there, because I don't think it's going to translate to when you face better opponents. It's like every drive he's like at least once or twice he's scrambling around, and then he might get a positive gain like 7 or 8 yards, but just like the unnecessary hits, and like that could cost you. Obviously, it didn't cost you in the Maryland game, but you have Penn State and Michigan State coming up, Iowa on Saturday.
Michigan State's not a football team, Evan.
Any questions for concern for JJ's legs?
Over mobility.
Yes, I have concerns. Lots of concerns. The cool thing was, though, if we're going to do dumb cool things, Fran Tarkenton, famous quarterback for the Vikings, used to scramble like a madman. He quote tweeted JJ's play and said, "Nice." Like, he was like, yeah, this guy's cool.
Frank,
that was a cool
play.
He's still alive.
Yep. And he's active on Twitter.
Probably your grandparents' age.
So, to highlight the sloppy plays of... Yeah, imagine if, like, Evan's grandparents were quote tweeting JJ McCarthy plays. Can't picture it. Speaking of the sloppy plays, I made notes of it. JJ had... the team as a whole had 3 fumbles. JJ had 2 fumbles. One was kind of. I love that Alex hasn't seen the game, so this is all new to him.
I've seen the same amount as Evan. I don't know how he's retaining this much information.
Because I know ball, and I told myself I was going to watch more college football this year.
You were just simply watching. I wasn't. I guess
he had to make up for last weekend.
And the weekend before that.
One was like on a scramble where I thought his arm went forward, but Michigan recovered it. So I think they were like, yeah, I mean, they reviewed it. But 2 fumbles. They did not lose any of them. They're on the same drive too, which was crazy. It was a roller coaster. I wrote to myself notes taking the game that I need a cigarette to watch JJ McCarthy play football the way he's playing football. It is anxiety inducing. I need to relax. So yes, I have concerns about it, especially as we face Iowa next week, which we'll talk to later in the show. Another concern I have, this might perk your guys' ear up. I'm very concerned about Michigan's play calling as we sit here right now. I have optimism that they will figure it out, but our good friend announcer Joe Klatt pointed out a very interesting behind-the-scenes piece he gathered from the team this week during their meetings. He sat down with Sharon Moore, he sat down with Matt Weiss, and he asked them, who is the play caller? And they said, we both call plays. And he goes,
yeah, okay.
Awful. He goes, but who has veto power? And they go, well, no one does. We work together. And then Joe goes, so who has veto power? Like where's the buck stop? And they go, we work together. So I don't know if that was them being cute, not giving away who does it. I don't see why they would hold that from Joel. That concerns me because at times in this game, it was like, what are we doing? The play calling was similar to early last year when I would come on here and get mad at Josh Gaddis and Jim Harbaugh over and over again. So I'm very confused with who was calling plays. There was a poorly run trick play that Joel pointed out was not set up at all, because usually you like to run a similar motion to then set up a trick shot play. They did not do that. They just ran the motion, ran the shot play. Maryland sniffed it out. It was a sack. Ronnie Bell got sacked because he was on motion trying to throw it downfield. Sacked. So I'm like, why are we calling that play having not set it up? So there was some concerns there, but I also want to tell myself that maybe it was more passive play calling because JJ did not design run at all, because I think they were worried that since Cade is out, that if JJ gets hurt, they really have zero contingency plan. So something to look forward to going into the Iowa game. We might see less JJ McCarthy running, design run, than you want as a Michigan fan. But Charles Woodson told JJ McCarthy after the game, you need to run more when you're scrambling. Like when you're passing, nothing's there. Don't hold on and stay in the pocket, run.
So you think JJ's going to take advice from a guy that's not his coach?
He said in the post-game press conference, yes, I need to listen to Charles Woodson.
Got it.
So I think he took it to heart.
I did notice the play calling. I didn't notice it while I was watching, I'll hand up. But Twitter and everything else, reading about the game, I have heard there are similar concerns about the play calling. So,
and to
just
highlight
like
that,
I don't know how you can possibly have two play callers that, like, do they have it set up where like one guy calls one play, then the next play they just go back and forth? That would be insane.
Yeah,
that would never work.
Yeah, I don't know. I would be very fascinated to see how it works. To highlight the calling, to open up the second half, 7 straight run plays, and then tried one pass, and it was a sack. And this was on different drives. So it was just, we're just going to run. Wasn't really working. Try a pass, sacked. It was the classic running on obvious downs and then passing on obvious passing downs. There was no pass on first down, keep people on their toes for large points in the game.
Do you want Josh Gaddis back?
Nope, they just lost to Middle Tennessee State and had like 2 points at halftime. Josh Gaddis is worse than both of our play callers.
Good answer.
And he would blow it with recruits. And bright side of the game,
they would actually blow it.
Three players that deserve a lot of praise. 2 of them in Michigan secondary, which I'm realizing Michigan secondary is a force, which is good to have in college football. So we have Gamon Green. He was locked down all game long. He was putting Maryland's wide receivers in an absolute torture chamber. Shout out to him. 2, Mike Sainristil. I talked about him in my post-game recap. It baffles my mind that this kid was a wide receiver last year. He leads our team in sacks. He is one of our leading tacklers. He is the most physical player I think we have on our defense, and he's 5'10". He is a freak. When you watch him tackle, he just runs through people. Form tackle great, like Evan's been coaching him how to form tackle, and the kid just makes plays all over the field. So that is amazing to see from a guy that switched positions this offseason.
That is impressive.
And then lastly, Blake Corum, team on his back, started his Heisman campaign. Get him in the conversation right now. We'll see what happens when Donovan Edwards comes back. Leads the country in touchdowns, 30 carries, well over 100 yards, flirting with 200 yards. the kid was phenomenal. So shout out to him. My last things. One, we'll talk about it in the previews. Massive respect gain by Talia Tagovailoa. I had been pronouncing his name wrong my whole life, but I respect him so much. I went and looked it up during the game. I said, I cannot be calling this kid Talia. He is Talia. He is a phenomenal football player and gritty and a gamer, and he's just very good. I just had to shout him out in this post game. And then lastly, J.D. McCarthy needs to be better at his deep balls. He was 1 of 5. He at least did connect one to Ronnie Bell. The 3 that he threw were missed deep, and his explanation was that he's still, so we know he had his offseason arm problem. He's still getting it back. He said his arm felt 110% for the first time in a long time. There's that cliche, and he said he was just sailing them along. So hopefully he fine-tunes that in practice, because you're going to need to hit some deep balls against Iowa. And that's it. I was very nervous this game. If you want to know about emotional, Grant, I was a head case texting our Michigan group chat saying, guys, we need to get a score. We need to get a stop. We need to get to halftime. The team executed that to perfection, so that was good to see. And we figured out a little behind the scenes in our group chat. If you just say the word please after your demand, the team did it every time. Benny V would just be like, do this now. And then write please happened. But we forget to sometimes, wouldn't happen. Then we just kept saying please over and over, and it kept happening. So
maybe we should try that next week, Evan.
Hopefully we can carry that into
little please action.
Little please.
Please.
Use your
Please,
favors.
guys, please.
Yep. The question is from Josh on Instagram: is Michigan overrated?
Yes.
According to their AP ranking, yes, they are overrated. I don't think they're the 4th best team in the country.
Can I caveat mine?
Yeah.
They're overrated right now. I think
Correct.
they can. I think they can easily reach that number 4 ranking.
When you look at who
terms
they
of
beat and
actual
who other
ability.
teams that beat around them, I don't think it's comparable.
They're overrated for now.
Based
They
on eye
won't be.
tests, that I've seen other teams, I don't think they're overrated, but I also don't think I'm not saying they're good is what I'm trying to say. I think there's after the top 3 teams, I think it's just everyone in a bucket for a while. And so I think they're just at the top of that bucket right now.
Too early to tell. In other words.
Yeah. This weekend will be a good test, which we'll get to. Now, we switch to the darker side of college football in our state.
Let's make
Michigan
this brief.
State, Minnesota, 34-7. And we got to spend some time. We have a lot of listener questions that need your guys' thoughts.
Oh, my God.
Because I think last week was all right, that's one loss. This week, you solidified that you'll be out of the college football playoff. So we got to dig into it. Let's start with specific moments. Were there any moments from this game that you think are worth talking about for whatever reason?
I mean, there are, but
They're not moments. There's more just obvious things that you're there in person that it just doesn't make sense what we're doing. It doesn't make sense to have your safety or your backup corner / your nickel guy to be on your tight end most of the time. It doesn't make sense to have your safety lined up 12, 15 yards off the ball of the primary target, and they can either run slant or just run it right across the field without any pushback.
every
No
time.
jam, no nothing. Saw that too many times. Tanner Morgan completed 88% of his passes.
23 of 26.
Holy cow.
88% of his passes. Tanner Morgan will not play on Sundays.
No, he won't.
Will not play on Sundays.
He might be a backup.
He could make a practice squad. He's a decent college quarterback. I think he's a good college quarterback for Minnesota. Now, there's probably only a handful of other teams that he can start for in the Power 5. We made him look like an All-American.
We're good at that.
The fact that we came out in the same look over and over and over again, and the same stupid fake transition out of our defenses where Summerin would slide out or slide in, and then Justin White, or the nickel corner, would fake blitz and then back off, and then our corners would bail. We gave that look at least 15, 16 times.
It was working.
And didn't get out of it. And what's sick and disgusting afterwards is they asked Widman, what was expecting, and we said, we thought they would run the ball more.
Makes sense, Evan.
I don't understand how, as a coaching staff, you think a team's going to run the ball on you when you have fairly decent success stopping the run, and your pass game is so bad. So bad.
That
you
sounds
put
like
Minnesota, who has the fourth highest run percentage, the highest run percentage of a Power 5 team, fourth highest run percentage, and the three other highest are, what's the word for it?
the service academies.
Service academies. Thank you. And you still made them look like an air raid offense.
So it sounds like there's a trap here where they're focusing too much on like scouting the opponent and not self-scouting. Not
Correct.
What are we bad at? What are teams gonna try to do to us? Not like what do they do to other teams?
It's just like common stuff. Like, okay, it's just one guy. You take one guy away from your coaching staff for a day, and you come in here and you're like, all right, design a game plan against our defense. How would you attack us? Seems like nobody's doing that. How would we attack our defense? Nobody's doing that. It's like, okay, Minnesota is running the ball at a 67% clip. Well, they're also facing Sisters of the Blind, and they can do that, and they're just trying to get their footwork down for all the running backs that they have. They're trying to get Ibrahim back in the swing of things after he tore his Achilles last year. Oh my God.
Mel needs to call Nick Saban, his buddy Nick Saban, in the offseason and say, how would you torch my team? And then go from there. And then maybe it'll start to click in everyone's brains.
Greg McElroy, we run the same defense as Nick Saban and Kirby Smart. Clearly, we don't have the players for that, but
eye test wise says that's a lie. I trust Greg's football knowledge, but like just eye test wise, that's just a lie.
It's not happening. There's no chance. But
that's what he said. They just kept on running the stretch play, just the outside zone stretch play, and over and over and over and over again, our either outside linebacker or defensive end would get so manhandled and driven so far inside that we couldn't contain the edge. Couldn't do it.
The only specific moment I had that
Peyton Thorne fumbled bad.
I mean, that fumble was disgusting.
That was just the dagger. That was when like, okay, there's really no hope.
Mint Money podcast co-host Cody, said the same thing. Like, you finally got like a decent run game going, like a couple good chunk plays here and there. Why are we then turning into like the zone read?
Why is Peyton Thorne running with the ball in his right hand going to the left?
You take the ball out of Berger's hands. You take the ball out of Broussard's hands, who had a couple decent runs on that drive. And tell me that was the most important drive of the game. You're down 17-0. You get the ball to start the second half. You're driving. You're on the 10-yard line going in, and we fumble and piss down our leg. Then at that point, there was no point.
So I think the biggest thing, and this goes to Cody with the K's question on IG, and then also a guy, again, named Alex on IG. They asked two questions. One, they go together. What is the actual problem with Michigan State? And two, why is MSU so bad now? So I think those go hand in hand. I think it's kind of tugging at that scheme versus talent. Is it a mix of both? What is the root of all this?
Scheme, players, and coaching. You can't be that bad without all three being terrible.
I think that's fair after this weekend.
You're getting blown out 2 weeks in a row. Not competitive football games.
Yeah.
That is more than just your players stink and your scheme stinks. Coaching's bad too. I'm going
to play the devil's advocate of the talent side a little bit. And this might be putting too much faith in some of the people that cover the team, not Chris Solari. I had to unfollow him on our account because of how many things he gets wrong during a football game.
I unfollowed him. He's so terrible.
If you go back at my replies, from our account, I just kept correcting him, saying, nope, this is what happened. Like they just said it on the broadcast. So he's unfollowed because he's just kind of fake news during games at this point. He just gets everything wrong. And he means well. I think he just doesn't know what he's talking about. So I turn to Justin Thien from The Athletic, who, while maybe I don't think I'd be friends with him, I do think he knows what he's talking about when it comes to the know of the team and some things about football. He has made the point that from his viewpoint, when they first start the game, Hazleton has tried to let the DBs be aggressive up towards the line of scrimmage, and they've gotten burnt, particularly against Washington. And so maybe that's why he's like, okay, these guys just can't do it. I'm going to have to back off. And while that's, not a great excuse, maybe try it, because it's been so bad. But he also made a good point He had a tweet this past weekend saying how third years of rebuilds can be a tricky situation because it's when the old regime's recruits are at their oldest level. So you're probably playing them more because your recruits are so young.
Out of necessity.
And it kind of makes sense because I just still go back to like seeing Ben Van Summeren as the starting linebacker on a Big Ten team. And I'm like, there is some talent problems. Like, I'm not saying Scotty's defense is going to be fixed overnight if you gave them Alabama's players. But I think
they would be better. I mean, Jesus Christ, they would be a lot better.
I think they would look a lot better. And it also goes back, and he's not the smartest football coach, but I do put some value in the phrase, it's Jimmy's and Joe's, not always X's and O's. Like sometimes you just got to have guys that can make plays. Like if you just dropped a Jabril Peppers in the middle of Michigan State's defense, you'd be like, wow, this guy can cover up some of the things that Scotty Hazelton is like asking other people to do. So I just want people to remember there is a talent gap at some points.
You couldn't. I mean, we all tricked ourselves into it. Me, Evan, Twitter mainly tricked themselves into it, thinking that you could just rebuild an entire defense with some transfer corners. Was an insane thing to ever think. Obviously, you cannot do that, and everything in a program is built on recruiting. And like Grant just said, all of our recruits are freshmen and redshirt freshmen. So they don't know the playbook. They don't know how to play yet.
Yeah. And maybe we change this a little bit, Evan. I know you can speak on this, is like what was driving me crazy as an outside perspective. Not that I am going to go to bat for Scotty Hazelton, but he's just getting dragged on Twitter. And I'm like, your offense has scored 0 points in this football game.
Offense is just as bad.
Why isn't it Jay and Scotty? Why is it just Scotty? Because you can't, I don't care how bad your defense is. You can't have 0 points in a college football game as a Big Ten team in today's era. Like everybody finds a way to score points. Yeah. So what do you think needs to change, Evan? Do you think we need just a wait this out for better talent to arrive with the kids, or do you think we need to have a long look in the mirror as the season goes on and like fire people?
I would rather just fire people.
But that might not fix anything. Evan.
It's splashy.
You could end up making things worse.
New is always better.
That is just not true whatsoever.
Yeah, it is. Offensively, I mean, I've been saying it for what, over a year now about the play calling and situational stuff. You didn't get your first down until the second quarter.
Oof.
I will say it's tough when you're basically sending out your offense knowing it's like automatically 14-0, and it's you can't run the ball because your offensive line is so atrocious, which limits play calling as well.
You as a coaching staff has to get your players into the best situations to succeed. And running the ball in the first 2 plays of the game, it ain't it.
We only handed the ball off to the running backs, a tailback 10 times in that football game. We threw the ball a gajillion times and had 7 points.
I just had to.
But I'm just saying, if you don't have an offensive line, your play calling is going to be affected.
Okay, you don't need to run the ball in the first 2 plays of the game and punt.
You got to see if you can run it. If you can run it, it'd make everything easier. I'm not saying Jay Johnson is a perfect play caller by any means. He has had plenty of struggles this year. But we do have to talk about how garbage the offensive line is and how difficult it is to game plan when you have nobody that can block.
Yeah, and I think the thing that bugs me is I don't see like the offense doing anything to help take pressure off of that situation where you basically run through the quick passing game. I don't think any of his play calls really, I don't see it where it's like, okay, yeah, I see what they're trying to dink and dunk a team down the field. It's like a lot of like longer developing stuff. And it's just like,
there's have time for.
There's not much creativity in the offense. There's not like getting like a quick bubble route to Jeremy Bernard and see what he can do with it. There's nothing like get your guys and let them move. It's just like, it's pretty cookie cutter, vanilla, like what Evan has been saying for a year, except for the Miami game. We saw the Miami game and got a little crazy. He was like, we're going to get
that ability.
K9 on the perimeter.
Doesn't want to do it.
Speed and space, man. We need to get the Josh Gaddis system going.
Speaking of offense, there's more steam to this groundswell now. I'm not just making this up. I'm not being a troll. Where do you guys land on the Noah Kim, Peyton Thorne situation?
Noah Kim will never start for this team.
Okay, that's where Evan lands.
I don't think Peyton Thorne should be benched. As I mentioned, he has basically starts every game down a gajillion points, so it's a lot of pressure. He's making some bad reads and bad mistakes, trying to do way too much. And Noah Kim, yeah, he comes in against the scrubs and he looks great and everyone freaks out. And I watched that happen with Rocky Lombardi, and then he was god awful. So I'm not going to overreact to Noah Kim throwing it to Cade McDonald 3 times for 32 yards and then a touchdown pass.
Evan answered Michigan State Nation on IG's question, when will Noah Kim start? Never. Alex, when will Noah Kim start?
He might start a game this year, but it'll be because of injury or something like that.
Okay. Next question from
Unless
Michigan
it gets
State,
bad.
From Michigan State Nation on IG. Asked us too, and I included both because he's a loyal commenter, a loyal listener. And he put it bluntly. He said, is Mel Tucker a fraud?
No. As we've mentioned, Mel still has to get all of his players in his system for things to know if a coach is good. The problem is they were too good last year, and Kenneth Walker eliminated a million problems with this team. We overachieved in year 2. So Mel's fault for being too good in year 2, but no, it's way too early to say he's a fraud.
Evan, your temperature on Mel Tucker.
Not a fraud. Some of his assistant coaches can hit the dirt road. But he's not a fraud.
The only
Even
thing
after
with Mel
that loss,
Tucker,
he brings in a big time recruit right after the game.
the only Mel Tucker thing that I had note is the sweat, though, is becoming a problem for internet memes. It's a bad look, and he can't control it, but it's just a bad look right now.
He's that intense of a guy.
Just sweaty, intense dude.
It reminds me of like when you get the Hulk confused face with no headset when your team's losing, and
God,
when
he wears a
coach,
headset.
when you see your coach getting blown out and he's just dripping sweat down his face when it's 50 degrees, you're like, that's not a good look.
And Michigan fans are relentless about how bad Mel Tucker is. And I think it's a
Hashtag
little
relentless.
extreme, but it's also Michigan State Twitter's fault for just gassing it up all offseason. I mean, dear God.
Oh yeah, I think it's as an account we have in one of our lists. I think it's Maddie something Faith, the kind of girl of Spartan Twitter. I would say I've deemed her that. She just said all the keep chopping deep end woodshed is a lot less fun when you're getting blown out to Minnesota.
Yeah, no, and for all the Michigan State Twitter people out there, you just got to take it on the chin. You can't say anything. There's nothing you're gonna do.
Nick on IG, our last MSU question: can MSU make a bowl game?
Yes.
Okay.
Will they?
Ford Field is going to be sold out for the Quick Lane Bowl. It's going to be electric.
Will they? I don't know.
My last question for you guys, personal question from Grant. I just you guys told me, I just wanted it on the record. You guys did boo, and what were your boos directed at, or who in particular?
I don't remember why we were booing.
Yeah, and when did you snap?
Definitely booed. I wanted to walk out in the middle of the first quarter. So
Confirmed.
I was pretty ready to go. Peyton Thorne's fumble was awful.
I did not boo. I sat down and just put my head in my hands and just was like just in awe that happened.
I stood up and booed on a Minnesota third down conversion. And this guy looked at me like I was the Antichrist.
I kept on saying, why do we stand up on third down and cheer? You know it's going to be a first down anyways.
Yeah. Well, I didn't stop standing. I only stood on third downs just so I could see the play. There was one I just sat down and watched the Jumbotron.
It's so much easier just to turn instead of like standing up and looking all the way down the field when they're about to score. Just to sit down and turn and just look up at the Jumbotrons. It's right there.
That's when you know you're just a defeated football fan.
Oh God, I was defeated. I mean, we said some negative things on the way back.
That's why we couldn't do a post-game recap. It just would have not been.
I said some things.
You would have been canceled.
Yep. So
there were
no real words that could have been said in a recap that would have captured that moment.
No matter how many takes it took you, you would have said something that would have had to get cut.
It would have been never ending. It would have taken 2 hours to get one that could have been serviceable for the web. It was a dark walk on the way back.
Speaking of dark, the Lions went to Minnesota. Divisional matchup.
This is awful. Can we
28-24. I'll kick us off with specific moments from this game. And it was the fact that I wrote down here. You know it's bad when I get the down distance and time left on the clock. That's when I'm really about to question coaching decisions. Mm-hmm. There was 10:53 to go in the entire game. It was third and less than a yard. I know they had to put third and 1. I watched it back. It was less than a yard. It was half a yard. on our own 27. What was the play call?
Probably a
deep
pass.
ball. A deep ball to Josh Reynolds, who was being covered by Patrick Peterson, which is, I wrote, a baffling decision in the moment. And I know you can call him the serpent of death. I know Patrick Pearson is older than he was. I'm just never, ever going to look at that matchup as we have the advantage in that matchup. On a deep ball, on third and less than a yard, when you have one of the best running games in the league and you were averaging around 4 yards a carry that game. I just don't see why on 3rd and 1, you don't just call your absolute best run play and fall forward with Jamal Williams, who had one of his better games of the year. I will never understand that. That play right there, as opposed to all the other plays that we'll criticize in a bit, that play was the momentum shifter in the entire game. Because that was after you were gifted a fumble caused by an offensive lineman of Minnesota, that you get the ball back up 10, and then you just absolutely fumble the bag with a 3rd and 1 play call. That was atrocious.
So we're just spitting moments.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I did not take notes while watching, so I'm not going to be as detailed to you as Grant. But it was a 4th and 1, I believe, and I don't know which one. We went for 6 of them, just not the one we should have went for at the end. And I believe we ran outside like zone or something garbage play when we could have easily just ran right up the middle. We had done it like for 5 yards all game long, and instead we tried to get cute and go outside with Jamal Williams or Craig Reynolds, who is not fast, cannot cut, as you've mentioned. You've bodied Jamal Williams on this podcast before.
That one's a little tough.
I hated the call because it was and I both looked at each other. Oh, it was a counter. That was what it was.
It was slow develop. It was supposed to go more inside, but it got bounced. Yes, I will agree with it. It's a little too slow hitting because it was like that was a long 4th and 1, whereas the 3rd and 1 was short. This was like a 4th and a yard and a half,
and everything was working. Just we hadn't run a counter all game. That was the time, Ben, with Jamal or Craig. It was one of those two. I don't remember. But that was frustrating.
Yeah, Jamal. I'm with you guys. I mean, another possession that you waste. Grant had the 4th and the 3rd and 1 on our own 27. He had the pass that we botched, but the drive before that, they fumbled, and we got it back, and we had it at our own 32-yard line, and it went incomplete, scramble, incomplete. Instead of running the ball, taking some time, you finally have 10. You're up 10. You just got a touchdown. They just fumbled. You're up 10, and you are basically at midfield. And instead of like having your whole playbook, you basically like didn't know how to handle the situation. Like you thought you had to score. No, you have a 10-point lead. It's clock management. It is field position battle. It is called your best like group of 15 to 20 plays.
We don't know how to close the door in games.
You know that also messed up, Evan, is I had that down to as a disgusting sequence. That was like right before the end of the 3rd quarter. So
yes,
then
it was.
Gave Minnesota the ball back with another built-in timeout into their comeback attempt.
Yeah.
It was like, just get that thing to the 4th quarter and then we'll go from there.
You wasted, let me see, what is it? First down was 48 seconds left. And then we punted with delay a game. Actually, we punted right at the 15, right at the start of the 4th quarter. Because Goff scrambled to end of the 3rd. And we got to delay a game, came out, and did that stupid whatever fake run off.
That's just, I just didn't need to see that.
Oh, God. The substitution rule, that didn't even matter. What did he think was going to happen?
It didn't have any like effect on
that was such a stupid thing. Why would you even try that?
But then then we come to like Minnesota, had 3 plays and punted, and you have the ball again, and this is Alex's drive with the counter, 4th and 1.
Just like super aggressive, super passive. Super aggressive, super passive.
You had 2 drives
where you're up 10.
2 drives up 10 to close out a game. You just couldn't do it, which is crazy, especially given the nature of your offense, like how your offense is built to chew clock. And so I guess we should dive into the 4th and 1 as our last specific moment. My dad texted me that they were talking about it on 97.1 the next day, and this is also just another chop at 97.1, some of the talent they have.
You're talking about 4th and 4 or 4th and 1?
It's 4th and 4, I'm sorry. The 4th and 4. He said, listen to 97.1. Karsh was asking your impression when offense was on field 4th and 4. Karsh said, what the hell? And Gator had no idea what he would have done. What would you have done? And first of all, I was like, it's obvious. I don't know how you sit there and go, I don't know what I would have done. There's three options.
You saw the result, man.
You either punt, kick a field goal, or you try for a first down. And in the moment, I can tell you, my head was go for it. My head was go, win the football game, because if you don't get it, I'll live with it because you went aggressively. Second, what I think I texted to you guys when Evan mentioned never a bad time to punt was you have Jack Fox, who is an all-pro punter. Yes, if he catches it in the end zone, you look like an absolute idiot as a coach, but I trust him enough to get it within the 15.
He's dropping that in the 10.
Get it within the 15. It just makes it harder for them to get
punter
to
in the
field
league.
goal. And then 3, and this is where the analytics nerds, I'm getting worked up. The analytics nerds can shove it because you can run all your models and say, if you make the field goal. Well, does your model count for the fact that there was a 0% chance that field goal was going in before it was kicked? After you saw Austin Seibert, who bounced around the league, who missed a 48-yarder earlier in the game. He's not making that kick. I don't care what your simulations say the percentages are. It's a 0.
It's a 49% chance anyway, so under 50.
It was actually a 0. It was a 0 to anyone that has eyeballs and watches football. That kick was never going in. Given the flow of the game, given the situation, the kick is not going in. So you might as well put your offense, who was actually playing really well, put him in the game and let him do something.
I have stats for you.
Hit me.
Here we go. Detroit Lions have converted 56% of their 4th downs in 2022. So over half of their first downs we have converted so far. Okay, we converted 51% of all of our 4th downs in 2021 and 52% of the league lead on 4th down attempts in 20 games.
I don't know what that last one meant, but I understand.
We converted 52% of the league leading 54th down in attempts of the last 20 games. Last 20 games we've converted the most 4th downs.
Yes, got it.
Okay, now in transition to that, Austin Seibert, he's played 29 career games. 29 career games. How many 50-plus yard field goals do you think he's made?
1.
2.
He's 2 for 5 in his career, and his career long is a 53.
Yeah, that was his career long attempt.
That just makes it even a worse of a decision.
He's only attempted 5 50-plus.
It just stinks that Dan says after, like, God, I hate that decision. I wish I didn't do that. But, like, God, Dan, like, we can't just keep doing that and keep making these decisions. Like, this is, like, the 5th time that you've said after the game.
As soon as that play happened and we were in that situation, I'm screaming, kick it. I get the whole go for it on 4th and 4 and win the game.
You were field goal guy in the moment?
No, I was win the game guy.
I'm not kick it, punt it. I'm
the
punt guy. I did not want to see the field goal unit out there.
Nobody
punt.
did.
Punt. Because in the situation, instead of Grant, you were saying like the worst, or we'll all ridicule it if he's on the 20. My thing is like the worst situation would be if they get it on the 20. You still have to gain another 20 to 25 yards from where we were because they get the ball where we kick it from.
And 80 yards to win.
So, and no timeout. So that's my thing. Like if you down it inside like the 10 or whatever, if we have a good special teams unit, okay, they have to travel like 90, 80 yards, no timeouts. I'll take my chances there than rather miss field goal in that situation. I wanted to punt it. And it wastes more time. It will waste more time.
The fact of the matter is you had 2 drives up 10 points where you could have won the game also. It's not all just on that.
Where is that? Did they get rid of the full start thing? With like Tennessee, New England, we're going back and forth at each other.
To be honest with you, I know what you're talking about because I watched it happen, but I don't know the rule, so I don't really know what got rid of it. But I think they got rid of it. Yes, I think they realized that was a problem in the game, and I think they got rid of it.
They did.
Because if they didn't get rid of it, that would be the perfect time just on your special teams unit just to full start once and then back us up, and then the clock will still keep on running and then punt it. But if they got rid of it, then obviously we can't do that.
Yeah, they did get rid of it.
With all the game management stuff, it can be simplified as this. We win the game if we have a healthy DeAndre Swift for all of it. So that's also a fact of the matter. Not blaming injuries.
That's a cop-out.
No, it's
you
just
win
a
that
fact.
game without him. You had the game won like 5 times.
Yeah, but it's also just it's a blowout if they have DeAndre Swift.
You held the living piss out of Adam Thielen and didn't get a call finally, and you had a chance to win after that.
I have a comment on that. So all the illegal touchings like the pass interference, illegal touching downfield, man downfield.
Contact.
Illegal
I just don't want to
contact.
confuse. Yeah.
That is actually a point of emphasis this year by the refs, and they're overlooking at those situations down the field, and they want to call them more this year.
Just stinks that they called them 5 times in one game.
The ref meeting every single year, this is one of the plays that they're looking at every single game. It's like, oh, we're looking at holding penalties on tackles. No, this year is illegal contact on the field. So that's why there was a bunch of them against Thielen.
And it's because they want the goal, which I actually like, they want less pass interference because it's such a dagger of a penalty. So they're trying to work in illegal contact whenever they can. So if it's like in the past, they would just default to interference, but they're like, okay, we're going to call more illegal contact, which is just illegally contacted before the ball is in the air. Once the ball is in the air and you're doing it illegally, that's pass interference. Before the ball is in the air, that's illegal contact. And then there's also holding if you're actually holding. So there's like 3 different layers of like things you can do to a receiver that are illegal. I want to wrap up the game decision stuff with, I have a message for Dan Campbell that I'm going to say on behalf of all Lions fans. You guys can say, Grant, you're an idiot when I wrap up, but don't. I'm going to get through this. I'm passionate about it. This is my message to Dan Campbell. For all of Lions Nation. We are comfortable as a fan base going down in flames when we lose. We don't want you to protect the lead. We want you to continue to try to win the game. We don't want to play passive. We don't want to take our foot off the gas. I am comfortable going to bed at night if that 4th and 4 offensive conversion takes place and it's an incomplete pass. Okay, fine. The players just didn't make the play. I don't want you to second guess yourself and be soft and try to protect the lead. And most importantly, no matter what you decide, I just need you to be consistent in your approach. I don't need you to be aggressive in the first half, in the third quarter, go for it on 4th down twice in one drive, and then get to the end of the game, your butthole puckers, and you kick it. I just want consistency, and I want aggressiveness. And I'm okay if we lose the rest of our games as long as we stay true to those 2 principles, being consistent and being aggressive.
I 100% agree.
No roller coaster.
You need to tell Dan Campbell, like, here is a situation, just every single situation possible. Just don't even give him the time and the frame in the game. Just give him the yardage and where you're at on the field. You have 4th and 4, and you're on the opponent's 36-yard line. Are you going for it? It's basically, that's what it comes down to. But now, like you said, Grant, there's a different situation in the game, late in the game, and now you freak out.
Well, also, he should adjust his decisions based on his kicker being absolute garbage, who had already missed twice.
There is a question from Scotty on IG, who is our new kicker? I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if we do get a new one.
I think it's Seibert.
Seibert's hurt. No, Seibert's hurt now because the team beat him up in the locker room after the game.
I haven't seen, though, like our
I saw someone
tryouts.
joke about that.
I figured we would have tryouts or whatever, people coming in this week of like who has competing for the kicking job, and I haven't seen any of those names yet.
PFT commenter.
Also, today was Tuesday, so it's the off day. So if we're gonna
machine,
if we're gonna get a new kicker, you need to be checking like tomorrow's like pre-practice and practice.
Dan Campbell is willing to give Austin Seibert another go.
There you go. Breaking news.
Beat reporter, which didn't make me feel better, the beat reporter said Seibert was up and down in training camp, which is a very bad sign as well.
We had Riley Patterson, but he now starts for the elite Jacksonville Jaguars.
We have 2 questions, one from David on IG, one from Bogar on IG, about the SOL moniker. Do you guys feel in your gut this is an SOL, or do you think this team has still a chance to be different than teams we've seen in the past?
I would say this is not an SOL team. How we lost in that moment, that game was an SOL. If that makes sense.
It felt a little non-SOL because we were dominating and then gave it away, whereas I feel like old SOLs like are getting blown out, find a crazy way to come back, and then blow it. Like, it felt like there's some substance to this team, that it has an identity. It just has a young coach, a young meathead coach is still finding his way in the NFL. And then I overall trust Dan still to like just get it together, like have enough common sense to figure it out.
This is 100% an SOL moment. I don't care how we lose. I do care how we lose, actually, quite a bit. But the Lions just lose games like this every single year. This is like all 25 years of my life. This loss has happened every single time.
But all teams, like the thing about being a Raiders fan, when they lost to the Cardinals on those 2-point conversions, and they were
That
up
doesn't
like 20.
happen to franchises as consistently as it does to this one.
The Browns losing to the Jets.
The Browns are a historic, terrible franchise.
Okay.
So are we, Alex.
Yeah, no shit. That's why I'm saying it.
Oh.
So it's very disappointing. I do have a hope in me that this team's different. But like I mentioned earlier, Dan Campbell saying after this is like the 5th game now that he regrets a play call or regrets a decision. It's like we got to figure it out now.
Yeah.
Because your team's like this team's actually decent.
I have one more question from fans, and then we'll do just our last optimistic things of the lines before we move on to our previews that we'll go a little bit faster through because, again, they're previews. So our last question, a really thought-provoking one, at least for me, from listener Brad. He says, if you kept the rest of the staff entirely the same, are the Lions better or worse without Dan Campbell as their head coach?
Worse. And it's dramatically worse.
Dan does every single thing right except some in-game decisions. He's a great motivator and great team guy, so I think we need him.
The reason people play so hard and that we have a somewhat competent team is because of Dan Campbell.
People want to play for him. That matters a lot.
Yeah.
Matt Patricia.
I mean, I definitely think if you sub someone in immediately, it would get worse. I do think I think the cop out is who's becoming head coach.
Yeah, that matters significantly.
If you put if you put anyone in the McVay tree, like McVay, Shanahan, O'Connell, anyone as the coach of the Lions, I think I'd have more confidence of this team's long-term direction. Whereas with Dan, I really like him, but I still am not sold on this guy for the next 5 years. I don't know what we're about to be in for as a franchise. He either really starts delegating these decisions or gets smarter himself, or it's just 3 years from now, we're still having the same discussion of Dan, with his hat on sideways, which I need to say, his hat being disheveled in the postgame is really messing him up. He looks like a moron. He needs to just, it's such a little thing, but he just looks so dumb when he has it up like this. We might be dealing with that still 3 years from now and be okay, it's time to cut bait with this guy.
I believe in Dan still. I think we got to give him a chance. He is a very new head coach still.
And it's still year 2.
And Jesus Christ, look at Denver. Things could be worse.
Yeah. Well, they're 2-1. So
Matt field goal even messed up in a NFC Championship game.
Yeah. And that's what when I was seeing you were saying tired of all the regret stuff. I think every NFL coach would say they regret at least 1 or 2 decisions in an NFL game. They have to. There's so many they have to make.
Right. I'm a little sick of Dan at that press conference when we lose being that's why, because I made this bad decision 6 times now.
But I'd much rather have that than Matt Patricia saying cause Juju who's
I would have anybody over Matt Patricia.
Right, but I don't like coaches that say it's the team, the players. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's a bad coach. Also, coaches, this just goes back to our every week topic. What are they doing? They just overthink everything.
They're not doing the practice drill.
No,
they're not.
God.
They're not doing.
Can we just figure this out?
Speaking of belief in people, we had 3 similar questions about this one particular player. I'm going to ask the one that made me laugh the most from friend Luke on Instagram. He said, is the Grinch, parentheses Al, eating his words now that JJ was clamped by Okuda?
I've said it 1,000 times on this podcast. We need Jeff, like Evan has said, we need Jeff to be good. And I'll be happy if he is good. Okay? He played well. I'm disappointed that it was against Jefferson, who is on my fantasy team. I am proud of Jeff, though, and I think he is proving to be a good corner in this league. I am not declaring him an all-pro lockdown corner just yet.
Right. I don't want to get into our argument from last week because it was very long and painful to listen back to when I was editing. Are we still in the camp where you won't even entertain the idea he'll ever be the top 5 all-pro corner, or do you think there's room for that?
We're 3 games in. I will not make an outlandish statement right now.
So so you're still closed off. Nope, Jeff is ceiling his cap
this year. What did I cap his ceiling at last week?
You said it in his career, in his life, he will never be considered a top 5. We look at him as an elite corner in the league, can shut down a side of an offense. That's what his whole career. I just said be open. His ceiling could get there.
His ceiling might have raised a bit this week.
Come on, all pro
But it
Okuda.
all doesn't matter because Awarie was so shitty anyways.
Warriors coming off an injury. Let him ease
Give me
back
Jerry
in.
Jacobs.
And really, honestly, since they're calling illegal contact, I don't mind a little 5-yard automatic first down. As
6 times?
I mean, they only gave up. They really should have only given up 21 points, and he had all those. So, yeah, I would be okay with that. If you give 21 points a game, I live with that as a
One
defense.
guy gives up all those points.
No, the team.
Yeah,
With those penalties, they only give 21 points. Yeah, but it's all about the team points. I'm not saying he was good.
But yeah, shout out Jeff.
Jeff played phenomenal. I mean, I don't know if you have anything to say on Evan. I know people are like, oh, he's double teamed the whole game. I don't care. I watched it. I saw it live. Jeff was a presence out there.
He's got a dog in him. He's not afraid to talk either.
He has serious dog in him.
Not
That
afraid to
I
talk.
won't deny.
I'll defend him on the late
barks.
put. On the late push that he had, he just didn't know where the ball was. That wasn't a dirty play. He simply thought the ball was caught. He didn't see it.
Don't care. Wasn't
He
called.
barks and flexes all the time. And I like that.
I'm
I
also-
hope he's good.
Oh, he is good right now. Like in this moment,
Continues
he
to
is,
be. I hope he continues to be good.
through his first 5 games, he is a top 5 corner in the NFL. Like statistically on paper, he is.
I hope so.
Unless you find me a cornerback who has an more impressive first 3 games.
Darius Slay.
4 of them. I need 4 more then. Because look at this. Jeff Okuda held Devonta Smith, Terry McLaurin, and Justin Jefferson to a combined 6 catches for 36 yards.
Yeah, no.
That's his first 3
He's
weeks.
playing well.
That's insane.
I'm happy that he is playing well.
And with that, I'm still optimistic this team will not spiral down a dark, depressing path. But I will say the injuries, which we may touch on against the Seattle game, are not making me feel optimistic. They make me feel bad.
Defense is still the worst defense in the league. It's 30th out of 32. Statistically. It's garbage still.
To give people hope as well, yeah, our defense is...
It's still awful.
Maybe you need to go ask your neighbor what's going on.
I think he'd beat my ass.
Yeah, no, I know he would.
I mean, I think
You're
he's a short
170.
guy, but he
You're
did
170
play in the
dripping wet
NFL
right now.
Yeah, he's a scary guy.
Let's do, how Evan listed some teams last week. I'm just going to list teams that are also 1 and 2 so we don't feel as bad about ourselves.
Are we just saying better or worse?
No, we're not. I'm just listing them like, okay, yeah, it's not so bad. We're probably worse than most of these teams.
I'm going to say better if we are.
The Titans are 1 and 2. They were
Better.
the number 1 seed last year.
Way better.
So could be worse.
Way better.
The 49ers are 1 and 2. They were supposed to make the playoffs this year.
Way better.
The Bengals are 1 and 2. They were in the Super Bowl last year. The Chargers are 1 and 2. They're supposed to be a contender this year.
No, we're not better than those teams.
The Cardinals are 1 and 2. They made the playoffs last year.
We beat them last year.
And the Vegas Raiders are 0 and 3, and we're a dark horse to win the West this year. So it's not all that bad being 1 and 2 right now.
It stinks because we should be 2-1.
Yeah.
Agreed.
You could also make the case we could have easily been 0 and 3 because that Commanders game did get shaky at points. It's just the nature of the NFL.
No.
Alex, yes, there was points in that
We
game.
never
I thought we were gonna
trailed in
lose.
that game.
Still, though, you watch enough Lions games.
They never had the ball to even take the lead.
To tie.
Okay. That was not that game. No chance you're losing that game. Play that game the same way 100 times. You're not losing.
Quick injury report. Tracy Walker's out for the season. DeAndre Swift is probably out until after the bye week. And Amon St. Brown may not play this week. So we need to really hunker down here.
We need Jameson Williams back.
Yep. Okay. Preview time. Back to college football. Get the brains ready. Michigan State, Maryland. It is 3:30 on FS1. Evan, think about the announcers. The spread is plus 7.5. Michigan State 60.5 over under. That's quite a bit of points.
That's
for what
an
we saw
insane amount of
out
points.
of Michigan State last week. Sounds like Alex might have a little sprinkle bet on that based on his reaction. Evan,
Under.
who's calling this game?
I don't know the color commentator, but no, I don't know the.
You don't know either.
No, Mark Helfrich is calling the game.
Analyst, boom, you got it.
The former
calling you?
Oregon coach,
Yeah,
Who's the play-by-play?
the calling
Dusty
it-
Dorvacek.
No,
You know his father.
he's on NBC. His dad-
You know his father. I think you like his father as
I would
an
normally
announcer.
look this up, but I don't care.
Alex, I mean, I'm disappointed in both of you for not getting this with your
I
announcer
don't
knowledge.
know. I don't care.
Noah Eagle. Noah Eagle.
Iron Eagle's son.
is
Iron
calling this
Eagle's
game.
that old?
I'm actually gonna have to listen to him this week.
I'm going to give you my only keys to the game. The only thing that matters in this game, it's simply the health of Talia Tagovailoa and Raheem Jarrett. I dug on Twitter. I looked at latest tweets today. I'm in the Maryland beat reporter's kitchen. I know what's going on with this team. You want to know what's going on with this team? Raheem Jarrett not at practice today.
Yes.
He is we don't root for injuries, Evan.
Doesn't matter,
We don't root for
Evan.
Injuries.
No, we're
Raheem-
cheering for your good reporting, Gray. That's what I'm cheering for.
Thank you. Raheem Jarrett is a secondary player. He matters, but not as much as the main show. Talia was at practice in a knee brace. He's working through 2 injuries, a rib injury and his knee. Looks like maybe just the knee's bothering him from what we can see with our eyes. He did have a press conference today. I did not watch it, but it sounded like he was talking like he's expecting to play.
I can't believe
But-
how in the weeds you are about this game.
That's just doing my job. It's just what I do for the people that listen.
I can tell the people what's going to happen without doing any of that.
Well, no, I can tell you that if Talia is not healthy or does not play, Michigan State has a really good chance to win this game. But if Talia plays,
Nope.
it might be tough.
Michigan State does not have a very good chance.
Did
They
you
don't have
see
a good
Maryland?
chance either way.
Did you see Maryland's backup? Did you see him?
I saw one play of him.
Yeah.
Do you know who Trevor Renner is? That's his doppelganger.
Wow. Deep
Yeah.
cut.
Yeah.
I never thought that name would
Keys
ever
to
get
the
said on
game.
this podcast.
Play better defense. Great key.
Thanks, Alex.
Key on offense, run the ball better. Better quarterback play and limit turnovers. Easy recipe for success.
Generate pressure, force turnovers, and then find a way to get Berger
I
going.
heard Berger was injured last week, and that's why he did not start and did not play very much.
If Maryland scores more, how many points would Maryland have to score for for Hazelton to get fired?
50.
Let's do it this way. Is it like, let's say they score 60, he gets fired this week. If they score 50 or more, he's going to get fired at the end of the season. They're just writing it down now.
Ugh.
If he gives up
'Cause
60, he's out. That
some
would be
coaches
a
are-
joke.
Some coaches are really weird about firing midseason. I don't understand why.
I think
I'm
Mel
sure-
is weird about it. I don't think he wants to
Call your
fire
own
anybody
defense.
in the season.
Harlan
he's a
Barnett can
defensive
call the
coach.
defense.
Evan, is Harlan Barnett good at his job because the corners and safeties have been
He
terrible?
only coaches the safeties. He's not the corners coach.
Well, Gross is awful.
I was confused because I thought you
But it's
said
not
Mel was
his-
Mel
it's
was
not
coaching
Harlan
all
Barnett's-
DBs this year. Is
He's
he not?
coaching
He's not.
corners
He's
only.
coaching corners. Well, this isn't Harlan
Not that
Barnett's
that's helping.
go-to.
Yikes.
This isn't the same scheme Harlan Barnett is coaching. He is coaching what he is getting told to.
Harlan
I'm sure
Barnett
he's doing-
got ran out of Florida State.
I would really like to see this.
He
Michigan
got
State-
tagged with a very bad head coach.
Kevin
saying.
Summerlin.
Willie Taggart was his
Willie
head coach.
I would really, speaking of great defensive back coaches, Stephen Cleanscale might have been one of the most underrated hires in Michigan football history. That guy's an absolute.
We tried to hire him like 4 times. We couldn't get him. So
He recruits
yes,
like a madman,
He's a good
and he
coach.
just has everyone in our secondary playing like lights out football.
He's a good coach.
I want to say, what was I going to say? I'd like to see the Michigan State defense just blitz recklessly this game. Like, just try something incredibly different from what you've done. And also, I don't care who it has to be. I do not think you can get away with having Ben Summerlin dealing with a mobile Talia Tagovailoa. I just don't see how either that. You can throw Cal in
Who do you
that too.
want to play?
You
Who do
have
you
to
want
have
to
a more.
play?
I'm going to go and do
Darius
this
Snow
right
is
now.
injured. He's the
I don't
guy
want
that could do that.
No, I got you.
You
So
want
I just need like either
Maote to play.
I need a big safety or like a linebacker to play this role.
You're not going to find one. You're not going to find anybody faster than him.
Then Ben Van Sumeren.
He's reasonably fast.
Oh, who's this guy?
Just name
So
him.
is
I know who he is.
Brule's hurt. Is he hurt?
No, he played last week.
He's played every week. I've heard. I saw
What
that
is
he was hurt. That's what they said
what
in
is-
the press conference.
What does Tank Brown do?
He's
a
not going to
defensive
play
end.
linebacker. He's slow as dirt.
Why is he listed as a linebacker?
He's like a stand-up edge rusher that never plays because he's injured all the time.
Okay.
Find me somebody, Grant. There's no one.
All right, I got him. Quavian Carter.
True freshman.
6'3", 190. Kid looks like he can move around a football field.
He's a true freshman who has not played a snap this year.
I think
Enrolled
with how
in
bad,
the summer, he probably doesn't even know a third of the plays.
I think him running around would be better than Ben Van Summeren in this situation.
That is a crazy statement.
Well, you said find a guy. I just found you a guy that could be better in this game.
He might
I think
run faster.
This defense has been so bad. I don't think it can really get worse.
Oh, I'm sure it can.
I don't know.
Sure it can.
Predictions for this game.
Not good.
I'm gonna make my prediction assuming that 1, Quavian Carter does not play, and 2, that Talia plays. So I'm basing this off of Talia
Grant,
playing.
you said last week if we lost that you'd be picking against us every time if it's ever even questionable. So I would like you to just stick with that, and our feelings are not going to be hurt.
No, I am. But I'm telling you right now, if Talia is out, Michigan State's winning the football game. If Talia is playing, Trevor Renner, dude, he is so bad.
Dude, have you watched the 2 football games the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, but Tanner Morgan is at least a name. He's a name brand we know. He may not be sexy, but also Minnesota is an absolute wagon this year because somebody has to win the West, so they're still a great football team.
They're a wagon because they beat nobody.
Wow, you just called yourself a nobody.
Yes, we stink. You want me to sugarcoat it? We stink.
I'm Talia playing. Maryland wins 35-32.
Evan,
why'd you look at me like
Maryland,
that? We're not scoring 32.
42, Michigan State 28.
Maryland 38, Michigan State 17. This is also Maryland's throwback uniform game.
Maryland's defense is not good, though. You guys don't have to worry about
what?
Like, you're going to score more than 17 points.
Our offensive line is like Evan's 8th grade Tecumseh line.
Jesus.
You just got to get the ball out quick.
Sorry
Maybe Jay
for
Johnson's
that
listening.
Team stinks.
Right. Is this... So where are we... I'm not going to...
Below 50-50. Put me in the middle of that.
Okay, yeah, so it's not fire anyone anymore, even though you want someone to fire.
No, we're giant underdogs.
Is this a low-key thing?
I don't even know what the spread is.
It's 8. It's 8.
That's way too low.
7.5.
Way too low.
This is your personal hell because you don't respect Maryland. But
no, I don't respect Maryland at all.
7.5 underdogs.
Yeah, we suck. This is what happens when you suck.
Okay.
Sucking sucks.
We move to another big noon Fox kickoff. Michigan, Iowa, minus 10.5. Michigan, 42.5 over under. A little Big Ten buffet they have for this game. Evan, who's calling this game?
Joel and Gus.
Boom. Nailed it.
Jenny Taft on the sideline.
They should just
Jenny Taft.
ride a bus with wherever Michigan goes for the rest of the year.
Yep. And also Fox Big Noon Kickoff will be there. I forgot to say it in the recap. They are officially North Korea because they banned all signs about Urban Meyer, which is the most Charmin soft thing of all time. You cannot ban signs when you know what you're signing up for. So the fact that they have a blanket rule for that is incredibly soft. And I will be watching Pat McAfee on College Game Day the rest of the season as a personal protest.
Nice.
Okay. My official statement about this game.
That was just something I wasn't expecting.
Look, I know we clown on Iowa. I mean, we do. We really clown.
This is just a caveat.
Like last year, I was a little bit nervous about the Big Ten championship game. It was a drubbing. I got wasted that night. We woke up hungover, talked about how much of a joke their program is. We rolled into
really shit on them.
We rolled into this year. They weren't scoring points. They actually lost to Iowa State for like the first time in their lives. I'm like, this program's a joke. It's classic game week. I've talked myself into being nervous about this game, and I'm uncomfortable about it because I was diving into their stats and also some tweets were making me nervous online, which I'd like to get into quickly. So what you need to know about Iowa, we all know their defense is phenomenal. And I think like even though they haven't played anyone great, I do think their defense is actually really, really good. Like I think they'll have a couple guys from this team that you'll see play on Sundays. They'll be like, oh, where'd that guy go to school? Oh, he went to Iowa. Makes sense. They've given up 5.8 points per game, which is number 1 in the country. 5.8. That's stupid. Now their offense, the downside of them, is they're 120th out of 131. with 17 points put up per game. And it's just about turnovers. I wrote down if you score 3 touchdowns in this game, as little as that is, you should win the football game. You just need 21 points. Manufacture 21 points, and with your defense, you probably beat Iowa. But the thing that I just keep having nightmares about is what Evan talked about, is ball security with JJ. This team is going to opportunistic about turnovers. If they pick you off, they're returning it for a touchdown. If they get a fumble recovery, they're going to try their best. They might even lateral it behind them because they know they have to score on this play. And they have good players in the secondary. So I'm very nervous about JJ McCarthy playing at Kinnick with the best defense, scoring defense in the entire country. What are you guys' thoughts, keys to this game?
I agree 100%. Iowa's defense is legit, and they are good. But their offense, some would say that Evan's 8th grade offense is better than their offense.
Poor Evan.
Sorry to keep chopping Evan, but you got to score points for me not to. But their offense is really, really bad, and I fully see like Michigan will have a pick 6 or a fumble 6 in this game. So I only think personally that their offense has to score 14. Really, I think their offense needs 7 points to win, but I'll be nice and I'll say they need 14 points to win.
Makes me feel good about.
I do think JJ is going to have a bad turnover in your own territory, and Iowa is not going to score a touchdown off of it. They're going to kick a field goal, and it's not going to matter.
I wrote down we should turn around the turnover mantra and pick them off or cause them to fumble, and then it's like, boom, we'll probably win. Because if you turn them over once or twice, you're for sure winning because they can't sustain that.
Poopy poop.
Evan, you're all over this Ferenc offense. You know everything about Petrus.
Evan's an Iowa guy. He's taking the Hawkeyes here.
I'm not taking the Hawkeyes here. There's no way somebody does. But time change.
Somebody will. And
time change.
Somebody will.
An hour difference, Evan. That's not
an hour difference is different. There is still a difference.
That's not really a difference.
It is.
It is for me. It sneaks up on me.
It is. They're lucky. It's striped to stadium, I think it is for them, right?
Yep. I believe they're trying to do black and yellow.
Black and yellow. I have the recent success Iowa has at home.
From Scott Doterman?
Yes.
At Scott Doterman. This had a viral tweet this week.
I said this in our preview of the season. I said they're like 6-0 against top 5 teams or 6-1.
Last 6 home games against AP top 5 foes. Dating back to 20.
Foes. What a weird fucking
2008 won against number 3 Penn State. 2010 won number 5 Michigan State.
By a lot.
Say the score of that game.
By a lot.
Won 2016 against number 2 Michigan, 14-13.
Okay.
2017
loss.
Beat Penn State. No, lost to Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
Red Wings won.
Preseason hockey, Alex. 2017 Ohio State 55-24, and then last year Penn State 23-20. And this week Michigan's coming into town. However, I still think Michigan will win. Going away with it, it'll be easy for them.
What?
You can't do all that hype up just to say that.
Yes, I can. I think it'll be easy for them. I have a 31 to 11.
What?
Football game.
21-6.
Scoregami. 21-6.
21-6. It's 14-6, and Michigan gets a pick 6 at the end.
Evan, this was this was on top of that. I tweeted that, and shout out to @HockeyTownJedi. Said how many of those were noon starts, which is a great question.
0.
I didn't know. So I dove back. 0 of those were noon starts. 2 night games. The rest were 3 to 4 p.m. range. So I think that is a big factor in a true scientific test of how do noon games affect potential upsets. Where is the crowd really dead?
What time did Michigan State and Michigan play last year? Was that game at
noon?
Michigan State was a Big noon kickoff.
Yep.
This is just crazy. They put that game so early. Game of the year.
Michigan and Ohio State play at that slot every single year.
I know. I just don't like the noon games.
One of the best moments of my life was correcting my dad, who's right about everything with sports because he has an elephant brain like Alex. He was like, Michigan Ohio State is never played later than noon. I said, your ass cheeks it has. When it was 2006, number 1 versus number 2, it got bumped to 3:30 because it was the biggest spectacle in the world.
Cool.
And we lost 42-39 because Sean Crable hit Troy Smith out of bounds late. And I'm not bitter about
Michigan lost.
I lost that day. I cried in my grandparents' house on the living room floor. Alex, you didn't cry over Michigan State games when you were young?
I cried when Braylon Edwards scored 7 touchdowns.
I could have been at that game.
Cried in my front yard with a football in my hands like a loser.
A key to this game, Michigan's a little bit banked up with injuries. It turns out the aerosol smoke was real. You hate to see that. Jim Harbaugh just won't talk about it because I think they're still trying to figure out if he needs surgery or not. Because what I've read is it's a not a good injury, but you can play through it without hurting it more. Or your other option for like maybe better long-term health is to get surgery, and that would shut him down the rest of the year. So they're still deciding what to do with that. But it sounds like J.D. McCarthy hinted on a podcast in the trenches that Donovan Edwards would play this week, that he'd finally be back. So Michigan, I mean, all Iowa fans know about Donovan Edwards from last year's game. They need Donovan Edwards back in this game because we can't have C.J. Stokes fumbling the ball when he has to come in for Blake Corum. You just can't have that.
It's funny. I read all the tweets about C.J. Stokes the first 3 games about how he was going to be a Heisman winner someday, and then he stinks against Maryland.
Well, he just had a fumble, Alex.
Yeah, he
That's
stunk.
all. I mean, everyone has a fumble.
Oh, yeah. My
Never
team
mind.
stinks. Real bad.
You guys gave yours. I'm going to say 21-10, but it's a late score. It's a late score. So it's going to be 14-10. Iowa will have the ball 14-10.
Almost the same as mine.
With a chance to win. And
throw a
Michigan
pick
will stop
6,
them.
just like I said.
Maybe 21-10.
21-6 and 31-11.
Scoregami. All right. Our last thing of the night is
the lie downs.
Detroit, Seattle, the lie downs. It is noon. It's 1 p.m. Noon for me. Fox. Who's calling this game?
Adam Admin and Mark Schlereth.
Yeah. Nope. There's a 0% chance you guys get this because I don't even know who these guys are.
Albert Breer.
Chris Myers and his partner is Greg Jennings.
Robert Smith. Bob Smith.
You don't know who Robert Smith is?
We have
He's a
him
running
all
back
the
for Ohio
time.
State and former Viking. Used to be on ESPN.
Bad.
Grant doesn't
It's a
watch
bad
that
look.
many Lions games.
It's a bad look for
live.
me. I have no idea.
You don't know who Chris
We've
Myers.
had him
You'll
like
know Chris
4
Myers'
times.
voice.
Yeah, we've had him like 4 times the last 2 years.
The current spread, -4.5 lie downs.
I'll take
over
the
under
Lions.
50.
-4.5, and I will not take the 50.
50's a lot of points. It's going to be a fun game.
I'll
I
take
think
the
the Lions are
over.
going to spank them.
I'll take the over and the line spread.
What if Amon-Ra is out?
I will take the
I would
over and the
completely
line spread.
change my my opinion. But I think he is a gritty warrior that's going to play.
I think he's being
my
limited
only-
on snaps.
This might be a good day for Kenneth to expose our awful run defense.
Hmm?
I had a question for you guys. Are you guys going to be true fans and go to this game to support K9?
Oh. I would if I financially could afford it, Grant.
Okay. That's fair.
I would if I had someone to go with.
Not a good excuse. You got to go support your guy.
All right.
Lonesome.
I'm going by myself.
I'm picturing this in my head. DJ Chark will catch a touchdown pass of longer than 30 yards. 30 yards or longer this game. It's happening this game.
I
He's
don't.
been close. They've missed it. He's dropped one.
He's got brick
They've-
hands.
It hasn't been that bad. He mossed Darius Slay. He doesn't have brick hands. It's going to happen. And then lastly, as I planted my flag in the Commanders game, this is a must win. You have to beat quarterbacks named Geno Smith. And I also wrote, it's a must win that you have to win convincingly. It can't be a fluke win.
There's no convincing wins in the NFL, Grant.
Yeah, there are.
Unless you're the Eagles or an elite team. We're not an elite enough team to just have convincing wins.
When you are a top,
It's like
18.
78% of NFL games finish as a one-score game.
when you are a top 18 team in the NFL,
That
and you
isn't
play
even...
Huh?
What are we talking about, Grant?
what the Lions are, top 18 team in the NFL.
I just said 80% of games finish one possession.
I'm telling you, facts though. My facts.
That was
My
a
set of
fact.
rules. My rules. Grant's rules. When you're a top 18 team in the NFL, after you just lost a heartbreaker and you play a bottom 3 team in the NFL, you need to win by more than one score. Or they need to score late, where it's like, okay, fine, give them that. The game's already over.
It's just very rare to win by more than one
The
score. in NFL.
Jaguars, who had the first pick in the draft, went in to Chargerland and won by 28 points.
All they were missing was a coach that was competent.
That's not all they were missing.
And they spent a shat ton of money in the offseason.
Yeah, but not on like they overpaid Christian Kirk. It's not like
Christian Kirk is good.
Yeah, but we have a better receiver than Christian Kirk, so why can't we?
The
be
Jaguars are good.
We should be good.
We are good. We just don't know how to win games at the end.
We should convincingly beat the Seahawks. And if you're not willing to say that, then you're an SOL loser.
Well, if they don't and they struggle and they blow this game, then it is the same old Lions.
Agreed. If they look bad and they lose this game, they're SOL. The old Lions lose this game. The new Lions get back on track like against the Commanders, and they just absolutely run this team out of Ford Field.
Be interesting to see how Okudah does against a bigger receiver in DK Metcalf. If he's on him, he might be on Tyler Lockett.
I don't think you're going to learn much because I don't think Geno throws it more than 10 yards downfield.
He doesn't, but
like I saw a stat that was supposed to make us nervous, saying completion percentage. He's the highest in the NFL at 77%. He
dinks everything down.
It's because he throws it 5 yards, like he was Jared Goff last year.
They played
also Jared Goff. Jared Goff has been playing good ball. Like he looked pretty good.
Inside domes, Grant. I said we have to wait until get him outside.
He's a pretty goddamn good quarterback.
Wait until the first. Wait, I watched the highlights of the Rams Chiefs Monday night game a couple years ago, and Goff was elite in that game. In it.
He was. That was what Grant and I watched the day we got him. We're like, this guy's going to be amazing.
That game and the Vikings game.
Yeah, he just slung.
Oh, yeah, the Thursday night game.
Joe Buck was just
creaming.
National TV, primetime Jared Goff is elite.
The Lions win this game 35-17. It's a rout.
I am with Grant. I think we blow them out.
Yeah, I got 32. I got 32. Yeah, 32-18.
32. God, your scores stink. What'd you say, Grant? 35.
So Monroe Swift might be out. Our two best offensive weapons might be out.
No, Evan, I don't care that your score was close. And I care that your numbers are 32 and 18.
Yeah, we also are just like saying that we're going to lose two of our top 5 most talented players this week, and we're just going to bounce back. And if Amara's out, then we lose 3 of our top 5. We lost the best player on our entire defense. Gone.
28-14. 28-17.
This shows how deep this team is. Yeah, in the NFL, 28-17 is a rout.
Good.
All right, that's the show. At Shot of MS everywhere on social media. Look for some clips, some graphics coming out of this show. And then YouTube, which is becoming popular for us. Get there on YouTube, I guess, if you like the app. And I don't know, there's no visual of us, but if you like to listen there. Spotify and Apple. With all that being said, cheers to episode 90 and to exercising the demons at Kinnick Stadium.
Cheers
to hopefully
buffet.
Hopefully just, I have something to cheer for this weekend. Tottenham's got a big match Saturday.